Today's episode of Armchair Ninja Podcast is brought to you by Atomic Climbing Holds. You've seen Atomic's work in some of the most iconic obstacles on American Ninja Warrior, including Cannonball Alley, Area 51's UFOs, and Stage 3's infamous hang climb.
You're listening to the Armchair Ninja Podcast. Here is your host, Rich.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Armchair Ninja Podcast. It is Thursday, January 14th, 2016. My name is Rich, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Bijan. How are you making out this week?
What up, Rich? What up, everybody? We are a week away.
Oh, the last episode before the beginning of Team Ninja Warrior. I'm pretty excited.
Dude, the excitement's in the air. I think we're all just like ready with bated breath. Man, I have a feeling this is really going to be something. I think this is going to be a start of a new era of Ninja Warrior. I think a lot of people are really going to be surprised of how fun this show is going to be.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's really exciting to see what they're doing. There's a lot more activity on Twitter and from the ninjas on Facebook, and everybody's just getting pumped up and sharing out photos and just kind of getting us all ready for it. And that's what we're here to do, of course. We're going to go through the last 4 teams. We'll do our National Ninja League update, do our video of the week, and our fan of the week.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so team number 1, we've got the Expendables. That's Kevin Bull's team. So we've got Kevin Bull, Alan Connelly, and Lucy Romberg. So what was your take on this team? It seems pretty strong to me.
Oh, yeah, and wow, Lucy Romberg. I haven't heard that. Like, it's such a household name to me and a lot of Ninja Warrior fans from the earlier seasons. But looking back, I was like, when's the last time Lucy Romberg's been on the show? And it's been a minute, actually. But yeah, I loved it. I'm glad she came back. She was such a presence in earlier seasons of American Ninja Warrior. She's really, really fun to watch. I really think she's going to do well during Team Ninja Warrior. She was definitely the first name that stood out to me. Obviously, Kevin Bull is such a household name in the most recent seasons also, and he does really great. I mean, he really surprises me all the time I see him, just based upon for his inexperience, he does above and beyond what you expect him, or how well you expect him to do. He's just great, phenomenally all around.
Yeah, he's very dynamic. He's very, he kind of strikes you as a parkour guy, the way he moves through everything. But then this season, he went all the way to stage 3 and just really stood out, I thought, as being more than that, really showing that he wasn't just kind of like a one-hit wonder, right? Because he's so famous, so iconic. When he became like an instant star last season when he did Cannonball Alley by grabbing it with his feet in the Venice finals. But yeah, he just seems like he's a natural up there, and I think he'll do fantastic on this show. And then we have Alan Connelly, the last member of the team, besides Lucy, who I'm going to talk about a bit too. So Alan, he's actually the owner of Apex Movement NorCal, kind of one of the big name gyms out there. He's been competing since season 3. He's made it to stage 1 twice. He's been injured a couple of times on the show. He had a dislocated shoulder that was put back in place by the then rookie Noah Kaufman, which every time I see him, that's what I remember. I remember that moment of Noah putting his shoulder back in.
Tough dude, man. that dislocating your shoulder is not fun. That's all I have to say. It's happened to me once, and whew. Good for him, and Noah Kaufman, as you can imagine, he's he's great, and he knows what he's doing handling that. But it does cause concern because traditionally people that dislocate their shoulders, it's an injury that tends to happen more and more, especially when you get older. So if he's not properly healing it, and I'm pretty sure he healed it just perfectly fine, but it does cause concern of the fact that, as we said before, a lot of these obstacles are going to be upper body shoulder strength obstacles where you're going to be just completely hanging from your arms a lot of the time, so he can easily injure himself if he doesn't handle these obstacles properly.
Yeah, Alan's Alan's a strong competitor, but like I said, he has been plagued a bit by injuries. A little inconsistent getting to Vegas, so we'll see how he makes out. Lucy is not somebody I was familiar with until he actually started this podcast, and my attention was brought to her earlier run where she had done the jumping spider on Sasuke. But we've seen some videos of her since then, and she's probably the strongest female competitor. She's probably one of the strongest female competitors in spite of not being featured on the show in recent years. Like, I think those that are more recent fans like myself will be surprised at how well she does. She's a stunt woman, just like Jessie Graff, and is definitely way up there in the skill rankings.
Yeah, she was like one of those high-end, top-notch female athletes from the earlier seasons of the show. She was like the go-to female name when you thought of American Ninja Warrior. She was very much in the vein of Casey Catanzaro and Jessie Graff when you thought about the earlier seasons of American Ninja Warrior. And then she kind of vanished for a while. She's probably, maybe she's either been plagued with injuries or her heart wasn't into it. As you said, she's a stunt woman, so she has other means of income, and other, just parts of her life. I'm pretty sure she was just doing this maybe for fun, or maybe other things in her life, happened where maybe she had to step away from American Ninja Warrior. I'm very glad that she's back. We're going to see how well she handles these obstacles after such a long layoff. I just, at this point, I don't know how well she's going to do just because we haven't seen her in such a long time.
Yeah, I'm not so sure if she took a break from ninja obstacles and competitions as much as I think she had some scheduling conflicts. I think it conflicted with kind of a routine gig that she's had. I really wish I had found the exact details of it, but I'm sure I've seen that somewhere before, that, the reason we haven't seen her on the show is she's had scheduling conflicts, but Team Ninja Warrior was running at a different time and filming at a different time, so it made it possible for her to compete.
Okay, that sounds better then, Hopefully she's on things and she's ready to go, because she's definitely somebody that's enjoyable to watch. And I hope I can't wait to see her. That's all I got to say.
All right, so moving on, we've got Team TNT. That's Travis Rosen, Adam Arnold, and Joyce Shahbaz. So Travis Rosen, for those who don't remember, he was... I always think of him as captain of Team USA a couple seasons ago in the last aired US versus the World. He's very consistently making it to stage 2 of Vegas each year. He did great on the rope climb. He was the first person I got to see do the rope climb versus Team Europe. And he said he would have quit if he had won that, basically going out on top. And I guess the other thing to note is that he's 41 years old, so he's one of the older competitors on the show.
Yeah, he's been doing American Ninja Warrior since season 2. I mean, he's been part of the show forever, and he's such a namesake. But not just that, he's so consistent in doing well on the show. With how well he does in usually stage 1, I think he's going to do quite well in Team Ninja Warrior. His age is up there, but it never really shows when you see him run the course, I should say. He's very fast. He's very consistent. He hits these obstacles with such precision. I mean, this guy is definitely somebody to look out for on Team Ninja Warrior. I think he's going to do really, really well. And come on, if you don't know Travis Rosen, I don't know what you're doing listening to us. I mean, you know who this guy is. He's so great.
Yeah, and so Travis's partner is Adam Arnold. He was the walk-on warrior this season. He was the only finisher besides James McGrath in the Orlando finals. So he did phenomenally well. Very impressive run. Really stood out. And then he ended up going out on the propeller bar in Vegas, which was surprising. Just a rookie mistake, I guess. So Adam's got a lot of potential. Definitely does. But let's hope he can kind of work out the kinks that we had in Vegas this year.
Yeah, I mean, the only knock you can really have against him is just the inexperience, right? Because, and I don't know. I mean, I'd imagine he's very well astute with these obstacles, like maybe at Ninja Gyms and stuff. But just on the show, we haven't seen enough from him. But man, did he hit that course was so well and with so much heart. I mean, when you watch his very first run as a walk-on ninja, I mean, he had so much heart, like just muscling through these obstacles, and you can see the grimacing on his face. So he's definitely somebody to look out for. I think he's going to do well. He didn't really show a lot of problems other than inexperience when it came to the show. So yeah, he's definitely somebody to look out for.
And then we have Joyce Shahbaz. She competed in seasons 4 through 6. She actually got involved in the show because she was Drew Dreshel's physical therapist after his injury in season 3. She's been to Vegas as a wild card multiple times. She's really talented, without a doubt. But it's also worth noting that she's actually 43 now, which may play a factor. So we've got 2 of the older competitors on the show. I mean, they're my age. I'm not knocking their age at all. But yeah, they are definitely older than a lot of the other competitors. So I feel like that might play into it. Travis, like you said, he doesn't really show his age, so maybe I shouldn't pick on that at all. But yeah, I guess overall it's a pretty strong team, right? We got Adam, who's a really talented rookie, one of the best rookie performances this year. And 2 veterans, so yeah.
Yeah. Although Joyce is the one contestant that on this team that does, for at least me, give some pause of caution, just because looking at her history, the obstacles she fails at either deals with a trampoline or deals with a grip strength upper body obstacle. And these 2 things are very going to be used a lot in Team Ninja Warrior. So for me, it gives some concern in the fact that maybe she's not going to do particularly well on the obstacles in Team Ninja Warrior. I hope she surprises me, but that does give me some concerns. I mean, she's failing at the log grip. She's failing at the trampoline to the giant rings. I believe they're called. I don't know the name, but the trampoline to the giant ring that you have to slide down. She's filling out a lot of these stage 1 obstacles, transition obstacles that for a lot of other contestants they go through very easily. It gives her a lot of problems. So that's the only thing that gives me some concern when it comes to Joyce.
Okay, so after Team TNT, we have the NorCal Ninjas. That's David Campbell, the Godfather, Sean Noble, and Rachel Mulvaney. So David Campbell, he's one of the originals, right? He did incredible in seasons 2 and 3, making it to stage 3 on Sasuke. Then he's been out in stage 1 the past 4 seasons, which has to be getting disappointing. Yeah.
Oh, it's heartbreaking.
Oh, this year it was the worst because I thought he had it. They made a big point of him training specifically for stage 1, right? Not looking too far ahead, spending all this time. Then he went out on the coin flip. But he was so solid up to that point. So I don't know. He's really fast, and he's got to be considered a serious threat.
Yeah, this is... Man, he's one of my favorite all-time American Ninja Warrior athletes. He literally has been doing Ninja Warrior before American Ninja Warrior. He actually competed in Sasuke before that. And he was pretty much the original go-to ninja when it came to these athletes that would build the Ninja Warrior courses. He actually built it in, I don't think it was his backyard, but I believe his brother's backyard or one of his family members' backyard. And he was training throughout the year in the earlier seasons. And he was really the go-to ninja where it became like American Ninja Warrior became a part of his life, and he dedicated almost his entire 20s and 30s for American Ninja Warrior. And it's heartbreaking seeing him fail the last 4 seasons. This is the thing where he's very much the epitome of when we say the wild card, because we just don't know which part of him will come out. Is it the David Campbell that's always getting first place with everything, with every run he's making? Or is it the David Campbell where he fails on some very minute obstacle that, 10 times, like 9 times out of 10, he's going to beat it, but this one time where it matters, he fails at it. We just don't know which David Campbell is going to come out. My guess is he's going to do well on the show. but he has a tendency to just fail at the very, very easy transition obstacles, most likely because he's overlooking it. As we said before, he goes very, very fast. He's usually number one with a lot of the qualifiers and everything that he does, just because I don't know. It feels like some of the easier obstacles, he isn't even thinking about them, and then now he's thinking about the next obstacle. It kind of feels that way when seeing him. Obviously, I'm not in his head. I can't, I don't know for certain, but it kind of looks that way because the obstacles he's failing at, he certainly shouldn't be failing at. He knows how to do them.
Yeah, and actually, this whole team, it's kind of a question mark because we have David Campbell. It could go either way with him. Depending on, which David Campbell shows up. And then we've got Sean Noble and Rachel Mulvaney, they have been on the show. So Sean was on season 4 and he made it to stage 2. But beyond that, we don't really have much to go by that I could find. And Rachel, the yoga ninja, was on season 6 and she did well. She almost made top 30. She's flexible, good balance. But there's not a lot beyond that to go by. So I'm really confused on this team. I have no idea where to place them.
Yeah, I mean, it all depends on if they play to their strengths. Rachel, she's not going to be doing all this crazy upper body stuff, but what she lacks in that, she has such good balance, and she's kind of like when I say one of those CrossFit athletes and gymnastics athletes, where she's got a very strong core, she's got a good center of balance, and she knows her body. But she's not one of these athletes where we talk about, she's not going to beast through an upper body challenge, per se. Not saying that she's weak in her arms or anything, but I don't think that's going to be her go-to strength on the show. So as long as she handles the obstacles that go to her strengths, I think she'll be fine. And same goes with Sean Noble. I think this is a team where they're going to have to be very smart with which parts of the entire course they tackle. And as long as they do that, they'll do fine. David Campbell is definitely the anchor of the team. He's definitely the one that's going to have to, pick up the slack, so to speak. But this team, as you said, is kind of a question mark just because we don't know enough about them.
Okay, and moving on to the last team. The last team for Team Ninja Warrior is Team Electrics. That's Elet Hall's team with Dillon Gates and Cassie Craig. So Elet Hall is nicknamed The Natural. He made it to Vegas the last 4 seasons. He's very strong, incredibly fast. In this past season, he hurt his shoulder on the jumping spider, though, and I'm wondering, there wasn't a huge gap in filming. It was a few months, I guess, so he's probably fine, but I wondered if that could be a factor.
I mean, we'll see. I mean, Elet Hall, he's famous for his free running prowess. I mean, this guy is a beast when it comes to that kind of stuff. And as we said before, free running, it sounds like it might play a big part in the show. From the obstacles we've seen, it doesn't really show that, but I could be wrong. As I said, we only saw kind of a glimpse of what the obstacles are going to be on the show. So we'll have a better feel for it next week when we actually see the first episode. But, yeah, this guy is very fast. That's one thing that Elet Hall definitely is. He is fast. He's can come off a few times as reckless. So as long as he keeps that in check, he's going to do quite well on the show. How do you feel about Elet Hall?
Oh, I love watching him. I think he's one of the most exciting competitors to watch. He is so crazy fast. And like you said, got a little reckless, I guess, this season. It cost him in the end. But overall, he's exciting to watch. He did... Geez, what season was that? Was it last year that it was just him and Joe that actually made it through stage 2? I think it was. There's only 2 finishers for stage 2. I think it was last season.
It was season 6.
Yeah. Which I got to start calling season 7 being last. Yeah, I'm getting confused now. We're transitioning into the new year and the new season coming up.
Yeah.
So Elet's great. Dillon Gates. Now, he went out in the city finals last year, meaning season 6, and then stage 1 in season 7 on the silk slider. I mean, they're good results. He's showing some improvement, but we'll have to see. I guess that's not he's certainly competitive. It's just how competitive is he going to be in this field of all-stars? That's the question.
Yeah, I mean, looking at his accolades, it's more of like the mid-tier athletes from American Ninja Warrior. So he can either surprise us or he can do at the level where he's been at. He's done well, but he hasn't done exceptionally well. He's kind of just mid-tier.
Yeah. And then we've got Cassie Craig, who's a pole vaulter, a gymnast, very strong. Pole vaulters, I don't know why it's such a prevalent thing for female pole vaulters to do this sport. I guess it's the upper body strength kind of lends it to it. She did well in the city qualifier, and when she was a wild card to Vegas. She has lots of potential, but she's pretty new to ninja competitions. One thing I found that was that there was an interview with Matt and Akbar as they're getting ready for Vegas this last season, and Akbar had picked her as one of the females who could beat stage 1 in Vegas. He thought she would do really well, and she didn't end up doing that, obviously, but she definitely impressed him.
Yeah, well, Jessie Craig is very famous outside of American Ninja Warrior with a lot of her accolades that you went over. The one thing that gives me some caution is the fact that she doesn't necessarily train a whole lot when it comes to obstacles. She's more of, gym training, pole vaulting training, gymnastics training, things like that. So I don't know how much training she's done on particular obstacles, because as we said, a lot of these require a lot of technique that people don't think about. You can't just be strong and well astute in the body and be able to do a lot of these obstacles. Your mentality or mental fabric, I should say, and I guess knowledge, awareness for these obstacles play a big part in it. So we'll see how well she does. As long as she's smart about which obstacles she tackles on the show, I think she'll do quite well. But if she hits one particular obstacle that can trip her up, I think it's going to be a big problem for her, because I just don't know how much experience she has in handling some of the trickier obstacles.
Great points. All right, so when we come back next week, we'll be talking about the first episode, and we'll get to see maybe our teams will be running. From the preview, it looks like Jesse Graff's team, my pick, G-Force, with Jesse Graff, Nicholas Coolidge, and Travis Brewer will be in the first episode, but we'll have to wait to see how Bijan's team, the real-life beasts, made out.
All the way. That's the answer.
All the way. Yeah, probably. No doubt. I'm terrible at picking things. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're going to be rooting for... It's going to be so easy to, every week. We went through this, and honestly, when we first started, I was like, okay, so are we going to be able to get excited every week for the competitors? It's hard. It's easy to, because it's just full of all-stars. It's full of all of our favorites. So it's going to be great every week.
Yeah, that's the easy part. The hard part is watching our favorites fail. Only one team can go ahead for each round, so I feel like it's going to be really hard for me to watch some of these teams compete against each other, because it's I kind of want both teams to go far. But I guess that speaks to how stacked the deck is when it comes to this show, right?
Yeah, for sure. All right, now let's have a word from our sponsor. This week, I thought the best way to show the value of atomic climbing holds was to read an email we received from one of our fans. Dear Rich, I've been listening to the show for some time. Bijan is really funny. You should let him do the advert. Yeah, we'll skip ahead a bit. I made my own climbing holds at home from spare lumber that I had, and I think they held up pretty well. I had to replace them now and then when they tore out of the wall, but most of the time I landed on my feet. As long as I remembered to sand them now and again, the splinters weren't that bad. You kind of get used to them after a while, and they make handy toothpicks. Anyway, I think it's time to check out the atomic climbing holds you keep talking about. My dog came by to watch me climb, as he does now and then. I didn't see he was underneath me, and you know what, I'm going to stop reading there. So if you have a gym and you love your dog, please make sure you buy affordable and responsible atomic climbing holds. Come by ninjapodcast.com to use our link right on the main page. If you use promo code podcast, you can save 10% off your order. Okay, and we're back, and we're going to talk now about the National Ninja League. There was a competition at Pinnacle Parkour in Washington. So this This video, they did a little bit of a different, Chris Wilczewski took a little bit of a different technique and was showing some people and discussing some people outside of the top 3 and kind of breaking it down differently. So I'm going to run through them in the order that they actually placed. So for the females, we had in 6th place, and the reason he mentioned him, Maura Sherman, was actually in the top for the overall rankings. And we got to see her. She went out on a transition for on this handstand obstacle. So she was walking along on her hands on this bar, and they noted that it was like it knocked out a lot of the female competitors, and that's where she ended up going out as well. In 3rd place, we had Krissa Dustman. This was her first ninja competition ever, and she got 3rd place, so that's pretty impressive. She was actually able to complete that handstand obstacle, but she failed in this springboard over some mats. I can't give it a nickname, the Ultimate Leapfrog. In 2nd place, we had Rachel Goldstein, a familiar name we've heard before. She just made it look effortless on the rings. She was able to beat the handstands as well, obviously. And this trampoline to a wall climb, which is it's like a long stretch. Like she had to hit a trampoline and grab this rope down a wall. She was able to complete that, and then she ended up going out on these cannonballs over to a nunchuck obstacle. So then in 1st place, we had Megan Beatty. She barely made it over the Ultimate Leapfrog on her 3rd attempt, but she did make it. And then there was a rope descent. So after the cannonballs, there was this rope hanging with some knots on it, and that thing looked brutal. And I thought for sure that how long it was taking her to get down it. I thought that's where she was going to go out, but she powered through that. And then it went to a warped wall, and it was basically from a standstill at the bottom. It was like almost like the stage 1 warped wall where there's not much run up, and she just couldn't get that one done. But so she was almost actually completed the course. Did fantastic though. So Megan Beatty ended up winning it all. That means with all the points sorted out after this competition, there was actually a 4-way tie overall for the females. So should be interesting to see that tie get broken over the coming weeks.
I'll tell you this, though, they deserve it. I mean, this course was very creative, and I don't know. I like the fact that some of these obstacles look like they completely just drain the living heck out of your arms. I mean, look at it, like when I watched it, it kind of hurt my arms just feeling like the lactic acid buildup. Like you can just imagine how they felt. And as you said, for the last contestant going on the hanging rope, she was on that for quite a while, and she wasn't able, I don't know if you were allowed to or not, but she never used her legs, so she was just dangling from her arms on this rope that gave a lot of slack for a while, and man, did that look hard. So props to these women. They showed a lot of heart and determination powering through this course.
Okay, so moving on to the male competitors. In 3rd place, we had Joseph Meisner, who is 14. And he's done this a few times now, and he keeps getting 6th place, which, as a reminder, you need to be in the top 5 to move on to the national finals. So the poor guy keeps getting 6th. He's built his own backyard course, built it himself. He's 14. So they're showing his runs. He did like a 1-arm catch on this trampoline to the rope obstacle. Like impressive that he was able to grab that and hold. And then the whole thing, it showed him getting to the very end of the course, and there's cliffhanger. There's a really tough course. And the last thing they have to do is hang on something called vertical limit. And basically they have to pinch a board and just hold by their grip strength alone, like vertically, for 10 seconds, and he got to 9 before dropping. Like he just barely missed completing it.
Yeah, but not just that. The end of this course is just brutal with your grip strength. One thing that, like, it's the transition between 3 obstacles that just, like, I don't know how people can do this, where you start with a salmon ladder, then when you're at the very top rung of the salmon ladder, you transfer to an ultimate cliffhanger. And this cliffhanger isn't some small cliffhanger. I mean, you have to go really far from one end to another. And then you transition from that into... Oh, what is it? Oh, yeah, the hanging nunchucks. So, I don't know. Any of these obstacles on their own are tough, but doing them back at, like, right after one another with no rest on your hands, just, I don't know how anybody can do this. It looks just exhaustingly brutal for grip strength alone.
Yeah, definitely no question there. So then we had some big names after that. We had second place was James McGrath. He almost went out on the handstand obstacle that took out a lot of the women. So he was moving along in the bar and he got all crooked, and it was just a really sloppy run at that part for him. But then he kind of got straightened up and got through the rest of it. And he ended up going out on the vertical limit as well. So trying to do that grip strength obstacle. As Bijan noted, it was very difficult, especially after the other things they had to complete before it. So that took out one of the big names, the Beast.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, as I said, with when it comes to technique, I mean, it looked. My guess is, you know, since this is not an obstacle a lot of people do, doing a headstand while crawling sideways is probably not something James McGrath does on a regular basis. So, as I'm just trying to make a point for a lot of the competitors that we talked about earlier, that technique plays a big part in every single aspect of these obstacles, and even the most advanced and, you know, athletes, it can just be one small obstacle that they not necessarily train on the most, can really mess them up quite a bit just because they might not have the proper technique in doing it. So keep an eye out for that. Just one small obstacle can mess any competitor up, even the most advanced ones.
Yeah, that's a good point. It even could be something as simple as, you know, he's not known for doing handstands that I can think of, so just being upside down could have totally disoriented him, as opposed to our first place competitor, Drew Dreschel, who is constantly walking on his hands and flipping upside down and everything else. So he was able to, he had a very methodical approach at the start, kind of uncharacteristically modest and careful. And then they noted that he, you know, kind of switched it up midway, ended up doing like a 2-handed dismount from the ditch to the rope. And then went right up the warped wall without an issue. And then when he transitioned to the vertical limit, he went out right away. Like, he just fell right from it. So he just got there faster than the other two guys. So you would think, right, as we've got the first place failing on the last obstacle, that there's nobody that completed the course. But it was strange. There was a few bonus features, I guess, on this video, a little different from the usual. There was a competitor named Justin who finished the course, but he was disqualified after a video review. And it showed him completing the vertical limit. So he did actually complete the whole course. And one of the YouTube comments, I don't know, obviously YouTube comments are notoriously bad, but this one said it was due to him using the same holds shown at 2 points in the video. So when you click on what they're referencing, it looks like the competitors had grabbed the top of the nunchuck, basically grabbing the rope or just grabbing it in a weird way. And that had gotten Justin disqualified, but not these other two. I'm not sure how accurate that is, but it was worth noting. A little bit of controversy in the National Ninja League from what I could see.
Yeah. I mean, it's unfortunate too, because he did so well, but I'm not one of the referees or the people running National Ninja League, so I'll have to take their word for it because they were there. But yeah, it's unfortunate that they had this controversy. I really hope he's compensated, or at least given another chance. Perhaps they can, send him to the finals as a wild card or something, because he deserves it.
Yeah, I mean, if he finished this course, I'm sure he'll have no problem getting there if he wants to. So, other than that, they showed a couple other competitors too. John Stevens. John Stevens is third overall or he was at the time of the run. And he did the Cannonball Alley and rope descent like it was nothing, like he was just walking down a ramp, like it was amazingly steady and calm, and just, it was like he was just schooling everyone on how to do those two obstacles. It's definitely worth checking out. I'm glad they showed it. He ended up going out on the warped wall, strangely enough, so he didn't place. But just watching him do those two obstacles alone, it was worth showing.
Body control, my man. I always bring it up.
Amazing body control in that guy.
Yeah.
And then they had the polar opposite of that, the reckless run of the week, he called it, Nicholas Walsh. That guy went crazy. So he missed a ring on this, he was swinging from ring to ring and fell on the dismount. And then in a rush, he goes right from there, races over to a cargo net and ends up getting flipped upside down and hanging upside down by one of his feet and fell off of that. Ooh. And ended up quitting the whole thing at that point, which was probably a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, that's really dangerous. That's one thing that worries me when watching some of these cargo nets sometimes, especially when they don't have any padding underneath. Luckily, this one did, but you can really hurt yourself on a cargo net if you don't do it properly. Or if you get hung up, you can hurt your legs or you can fall on your head. So please, people that are about to do some cargo nets, take it with some air of caution. Don't just recklessly throw yourself into it, because you can hurt yourself very easily.
So that is it for the National Ninja League this week. Very exciting. There's only a few weeks left because the finals are at the end of February. So it's kind of, we're going to end up doing the full season for that, which I didn't expect when we first started it.
Yeah, man, it's exciting. And, you know, the good thing about National Ninja League is there's a lot of, I guess, lesser known athletes that are very much going to surprise a lot of people if they make it to the show. And it's really surprising seeing them at the precipice or, you know, the beginning stages of their Ninja Warrior tenure. So there's going to be a lot of people to look out for during the finals, and it's exciting to see.
Yeah, I think it's made it really exciting for me because I feel like I have all these new ninjas that I just can't wait to see them on the show, and I'm hoping that they make it through and we get to see them.
Oh, yeah, man.
So moving on, we've got our video of the week. And this week we picked one a little different. It's a video from Felix Chu. He posted this funny teaser and blooper. So it has to do with his ANW8 submission video, but it isn't the actual video. It's some outtakes and some funny stuff that he had. I don't want to give away his punchlines, but it was really entertaining. Bijan, did you notice his t-shirts? Oh, yeah.
The t-shirts were amazing.
Yeah, so
definitely go out to it's kind of like a humble brag funny. I don't know how to describe it too well, but a lot of his t-shirts are really something to look out for. And not just that, just the whole theme of his video in general. Very, very funny, very much I guess making fun of himself in many ways. And yeah, the number one thing to describe it is entertaining, which some of these videos, you know, we talk about, they have good stories. Sometimes, you know, we talk about their athletic feats, other things. But one thing that doesn't stand out a lot is how entertaining they are. This guy, from ear to ear, is just the epitome of charisma and entertainment. And I definitely think we're going to see him on the show, just because I have to imagine this is something that the producers look for when it comes to the show, is just somebody that's entertaining to the crowd. And yeah, I think he's going to be doing great. And I don't know if you said it, but he's actually been on the show before. So that's another notch in his cap, you know? Yeah, very good stuff. Definitely everybody go out and see it.
Yeah, I'm hoping he gets back on the show. It's funny you say that, because I thought the same thing. Having been on the show would give you a better chance of returning. But I saw a note from, and I don't know if, I assume he's an expert, certainly more of an expert than I am. Geoff Britten noted online to somebody that it's actually harder to get back on the show if you've already been on there. Basically, unless you did extremely well and, you know, you stood out that way, that getting back on the show is actually harder than the initial one.
So it's kind of like you get one shot, and if you don't do well, then, somebody else is going to take your spot. Something new?
Something like that. I guess that's why they've been using the Eminem Lose Yourself song. Maybe that's the reasoning behind it.
Man, yeah, I hope you, for people I don't know, we go through a lot of these submission videos. Oh, please, for anybody that's doing a submission video, there are some songs that are just so played out when it comes to it. And I'm sure the producers are so sick of these songs. Eminem's Lose Yourself is definitely one of them.
Yeah, to put it on your do not use list, please. And that's from people that we've only watched dozens of them at this point, but they're watching hundreds and hundreds of these things, thousands of them.
Yeah, I can just imagine they're so sick of Eminem and like heavy metal music.
Yeah, it's always heavy metal. It's, yeah. I guess there's a fair amount of rap too.
Yeah.
Find a local band. Find something that they've never heard before. It'd be a better way to go.
Yeah, or something funny. Something that's, I guess, creative. Something they're not expecting. I'm sure it'll make them watch a little bit more. Because if they're watching like 100 videos in a row and they hear this kind of music, I'm pretty sure it's immediately going to give them like lazy eyes, being like, "Oh God, here we go."
Speaking of, since we're on the topic, how's your submission video coming along?
Well, good and bad. This is the interesting part when it comes to me. We basically just had big El Nino in San Diego, and the two areas that I was going to record, which were the more intensive CrossFit and basically all the outside area parts of the video, which I was planning, pretty much can't be recorded because San Diego is halfway flooded right now. Hopefully it won't be later this week, but oh man, I mean, we'll see. If it doesn't get finished this time, at least I'll have a lot of footage for next year. But it's kind of demoralizing just because I have so much footage when it comes to the local ninja gyms, and I have a lot of footage from inside my gym. But when it comes to the outside training and a lot of the stuff from my work, it's just not there because, I mean, unless they want to see me covered in rain and me covered from head to toe in a poncho, it's not really going to be all that exciting.
Oh, come on. You got to get it together.
It's painful, man. I mean, I had all these plans for it, but for the past 2 weeks, it's just been raining. But either way, if I make it, it's going to be, an average video, and at least I could say I sent one through. And if I don't, next year's, I'll have a lot of footage at least to, send in. By the end of the day, my bigger passion or my bigger thing has always been Spartan Race, Tough Mudder, marathons. So it's not like, I'm going to be crying if somebody takes my spot because they'll probably, kill it better than me.
Okay. So moving on, we're going to the fan of the week. And our fan of the week this week is going to be Courtney Venuti from Teen Ninja Warrior, The Runaways. And that's for reaching out to us a couple weeks ago with an offer to assist us if we need anything, and then sharing the podcast out on Facebook this last week with a nice message. So just a note to everybody, we love hearing from everyone, not just competitors. I know this is kind of a few weeks now we've given it out to competitors. It's just because other than people that we've previously had as fans of the week, they're the ones that are getting out right now and sharing everything and sending us feedback and everything. So don't feel like, just because you don't do competitions yourself that you can't, send us your rants, send us your picks, your wishes, anything, just whatever you want to see, whatever you want to hear. Is there an underdog team that you think that can take it all? Are you amazed we didn't pick one of the heavy favorites? If you do ninja obstacles or parkour, send us links to your videos, your YouTube, your Instagram. We may even end up featuring that as the video of the week. So definitely there's 100 different ways to reach us, and we love hearing from you all.
Yeah, feedback is key, everybody. Just send in the feedback. We love it, and we'll definitely give as many people as we can a shout out. It means a lot to us, so definitely don't think you're left in the dark. Send that feedback. We'll feature here.
So I just have a couple of news items before we wrap up the show this week. So U.S. versus the world. So the special that was recorded this past summer, I guess it would have been, will be airing on January 31st at 8 p.m. on NBC. So we've got that to look forward to in the coming weeks too, in addition to Team Ninja Warrior. So we'll definitely...
Yeah, it's exciting. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
So we'll definitely be reviewing that. Both pretty excited for that.
Yeah, man, it's exciting, and I think it's going to be on a Sunday, right? Of this month. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a Sunday if my Spartan race is. Yeah, sorry, I was thinking back, but it's going to be the same day that I'm running my Super Spartan, so that'll be fun for me that day. But yeah, it's going to be fun, and it won't interfere too much with Team Ninja Warrior. I don't know. I think it's going to be really fun. Definitely, everybody go out and watch that. We're going to be covering it quite extensively on this podcast because I think Team Ninja Warrior and this US versus the World Special, they're very similar in many ways where you have one competitor competing against another competitor in a certain way. And I just find that certain aspect of these specials so entertaining, so fun. And I think that's one of the key components to Team Ninja Warrior. So I think it's going to be really fun.
Yeah, definitely. And then there's another special. I don't know when they're going to show it. We still haven't heard from that one. They filmed an AllStar Special too, so we're waiting to hear when that's going to air.
Yeah, I always heard rumblings about this AllStar Special, so it's confirmed they filmed this thing, right?
Yeah, it seems to be. So just like this US versus World, they kept it in their back pocket. Maybe they'll air it closer to the beginning of the season to kind of drum up, bring everybody back into the show.
Makes sense, man. But yeah, man, they keep these specials like so much in the dark. maybe so people aren't yearning for it or bothering them all year, being like, when's a special coming out, right? But this All-Star Special and the USA versus the World Special, they sound so fun. I can't wait to see them, and who knows when the All-Star Special will come out, but it's going to be fun too. And yeah, I definitely see your point. I have a feeling it's going to come out closer to American Ninja Warrior, the start of that, just to be like, hey, get back in that mood,
Yeah, that's a possibility for sure. And I have a little bit of a teaser here for something that's coming. So there's another podcast starting up from the Wolfpack. So from the show, we've got Brian Arnold, Noah Kaufman, Ian Dorey, and Isaac Caldiero are the Wolfpack. Oh, and Megan Martin, of course, have decided to start up a podcast of their own. It's going to be called the Wolfpack Ninjas Podcast. Not in direct competition with us. It's not definitely not that. They're starting up one primarily based around nutrition and fitness and some ninja obstacles. They are going to have some short interviews with contestants. So very excited to hear that. So we'll be definitely promoting. We'll let you know when it's available. And once we have some more information, we may even bring Noah back on to tell us a bit about it.
Yeah, it's so exciting, and it sounds so fun. As a fan of this sport, the more podcasts, the better. And they're more going to be like our partners in crime, maybe like our sister brother podcast in many ways. And they're going to be tackling another aspect of American Ninja Warrior that we don't necessarily tackle. We tackle more of the entertainment part, more of what we see on the show and everything. Where they're going to be a little bit more into the fitness side and what goes on in terms of the athleticism and more of a personal podcast when it comes to athletes and the athleticism involved with the sport. So I'm really excited to hear it. As every part of the podcast is household names, so they're definitely going to know their stuff. I mean, they actually have Noah Kaufman, who's a doctor, so obviously you're going to hear a lot about the physical part of the show from them. And yeah, it's exciting to hear. I can't wait for it to come out.
Yeah, the whole reason I started this podcast is I wanted to listen to a ninja podcast, and there was none out there. So having one to listen to that I didn't have any involvement in is great. We'll have something to occupy my spare time.
Yeah, what's better than one podcast about American Ninja Warrior? 2 podcasts about American Ninja Warrior. So
exactly,
the more the better.
Yep. So, like I said, we'll definitely let you know when we have some more information on that. But in the meantime, if you'd like to reach out to us, you can reach us at rich@ninjapodcast.com. You can also leave comments on the episodes at ninjapodcast.com, or reach out to us on Twitter. That's at Ninja Podcast, and we are on Facebook as well. So once again, thank you everyone for listening, and I hope you have a great week.
Peace.
A special thanks to Kathleen Martin for the song Player v Player Remastered from Bandcamp.com.
Thank you all for listening and have a lovely day.